What's up, you guys? Happy Valentine's Day. It's been a while since we talked about relationships. In my 20s, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out, how to have a healthy relationship, what that looks like, how to find the right partner, things like that. These days, I find myself thinking more about how to make relationships last a very long time. How do you build a life together with someone that brings you both fulfillment for years and years and maybe even decades? So I just read a crap load of books, stuff that was kind of like old school, traditional approaches to relationships, new agey, not my vibe, but still maybe something there, approaches to relationships. Side note, there are so many books about relationships. Like, are we all just that screwed up? But something that was recently pointed out to me was that a lot of self-help focuses on what we can get from relationships, right? How we can attract someone, how we can get the relationship we want. But what about how to give love, how to be an excellent partner? Those are just as, if not more, important questions, and yet there's very little, culturally that addresses that. But there's one book that really stood out to me in this regard, and it explores a Buddhist approach to modern relationships. I'm not even a Buddhist. I just really like the essence of Buddhism, especially, as a perspective for life's big questions. So today, I want to go through 4 Buddhist ideas, principles that you can apply to your relationships. The first noble truth of love is that our relationships never become stable in the way that we might imagine they should. Relationships are always in flux because they're alive.
I don't know about you, but no one ever told me that. You'll meet someone, you'll fall in love, it'll be awesome, you'll have some problems, you'll work them out, and then ... Nobody really knows what happens then. So I discovered that ... never happened.
This is Susan Piper. She's the author of The 4 Noble Truths of Love. She's also a meditation teacher and a practicing Buddhist for over 25 years.
Throughout a day or a week or a lifetime together, there's this constant rubbing up against each other. The discomfort looks really close to something called irritated. It doesn't mean that the relationship is bad. It just means that it's never stable.
I don't know about you guys, but I definitely, have come into relationships with the exception that once you find your person, that you're gonna settle down and all of the effort and friction is just gonna kind of go away. When you're perfect for each other, that's what happens, right? Well, not really. Even if we acknowledge that relationships have ups and downs, we don't really talk about what that looks like. For instance, that might mean that at some points in your relationship, you feel really strongly in love, and other times, you don't as much. So the idea here is that this isn't a failure or something that needs to be fixed, that it's normal. So on the podcast, Susan and I talk more about what instability means in a Buddhist context, as well as 2 very important exceptions to this truth, which is relationships with the presence of abuse or addiction. Truth number 2 is that the expectation that our relationships should feel effortless if we're with the right person actually makes things much harder and can cause a lot of anguish.
By the time we're 10, I don't know, really little, you have a movie in your head, this is what love is. And it's like you have a lens in the middle of your forehead, the movie's playing, and wherever you look, it just projects. Whoever walks into your screen is cast in some role. Occasionally, if you're lucky, someone walks in that you cast them as your lover, and then yay. But the closer you get, especially when the honeymoon starts to wear off, the more attention we pay to that movie and the less attention we pay to the person.
She notes that the first step is to acknowledge that movie is even playing. And then, with that awareness, we can learn to turn the projector off.
And in some ways, you could say that is where love really begins.
Love begins where our loaded expectations end. The third noble truth of love is that meeting that instability of life and relationships together as a team is what love looks like. Love is not necessarily just being enraptured with someone for decade after decade. It's finding someone who can ride the waves of life with you and bring joy to the ride itself. In psychology, this type of relationship might be called companionate love, but where passion might be seen as a positive thing in Western psychology, in Buddhism, passion can be poisonous.
The 3 poisons are classical teachings in Buddhist philosophy, and they are called passion, aggression, and ignorance. And I get where passion can sound confusing because passion is good. It doesn't mean that kind of passion. It means it's a euphemism for grasping, holding on. Like, I need you to be this for me. And sometimes I do need you to be this for me. That's not wrong. But there comes a point in our relationships, especially our most intimate relationships, where we stop seeing the person and we start seeing who they are to us and what they can do for us. That's where grasping or passion can become a poison, because every time I choose who I think you should be over who you are, I am having a conversation with myself.
To be able to rise to this instability and to conquer life's challenges together, we should start by creating the right container for our relationship.
And the container principle is, as I was taught, a Buddhist notion that says that the space in which something occurs informs the something. So it's like if we were having this conversation on a bus, it would be a different time in history, but it would feel different than the way we're having it now. And you're the same, I'm the same, but the space is different. It changes things.
We can create that container in many different ways. By keeping a tidy home together, your shared space, sharing food together with delight, spending time noticing each other's positive qualities, and spending time together in nature. Truth number 4, bringing it all together. Now that we've accepted and met the instability of life together, Buddhism offers an 8-fold path to, relationship enlightenment. So number 4 is a list in a list, but I'm gonna give you the TLDR of my favorite parts. The first element is that we need to try to see our relationships accurately, which means seeing our partner exactly as they are, not who I wish they were, and not mistaking them as an extension of myself, because they are their own person. The second step is to have the right intentions. Our intentions in a relationship should be to figure out not what we can get from the other person, but to figure out what we can give. It reminds me of, I think it's John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your relationship can do for you, but what you can do for your relationship. The third step is to have the right speech. That means speaking to each other honestly, speaking to each other kindly, and communicating with intention. To me, that means not tuning your partner out, not speaking past each other, really learning to listen to each other. I'm pretty sure this stuff is agreed upon in virtually all relationship advice, so can't go wrong there. The fourth step is to take the right actions. This is about our behavior, right? Being a good person to our partner at all times, not just when they're watching or when other people are watching or when we stand something to gain from it. It's really taking each other's needs and experiences and feelings into consideration with decision making and our actions.
The fruitional piece of the journey is to realize that in love, you could try to take everything that comes your way, good, bad, ugly, except abuse or addiction, and view it as a way not to get more love, but to get more intimacy. Because love always comes and goes, begins and ends. Intimacy has no end. And it can always deepen. And when I realized that gave me a lot of heart. That's something that can last a lifetime. Because love, I know, sometimes I feel it, sometimes I don't. But can I know you more? Can I show you more? The answer to that is always yes.
I really enjoyed my conversation with Susan on the podcast. She was maybe one of my favorite people that I've talked to so far. Like any relationship advice or philosophy, nothing is ever going to perfectly apply to your life, but I hope you can maybe take some of the things here to think about that are helpful or interesting to you, and then leave behind the stuff that isn't. I'm going to put a link to her book and the podcast down below. Check it out if you're interested. Thank you for dropping by, my dears. I'll see you next time.